He is the new king of bare-knuckle fighting, coming off a win over Michael Venom Page, and I always like talking to this guy, Mike Perry. Mike, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, bro.
I like that mustache, by the way. I saw that in your Instagram stories. The general, I like it.
Yeah, I was feeling like you know, like a military officer. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm growing up. I'm a dad of two now, gonna be, and I just feel like I'm the fight games dad too. I'm growing up.
You're the new daddest man on the planet, as Daniel Cormier would say, right? The daddest man on the planet.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Congratulations on the second child on the way, by the way.
Thank you, man. We're very excited.
Absolutely. So I didn't have a chance to talk to you after the last fight. Let me go ahead and say congratulations on an amazing win over Michael Venom Page. Incredible fight going that 6th round, man. I was watching, I was living and dying in every moment. What an incredible fight. And I just want to say congratulations on that. It was a phenomenal performance.
Thank you very much, sir. It was, you know, I love what I do. I definitely love to fight. So I'm trying to bring the heat, and we're trying. That's what we're here for today, to talk about a big fight that the fans really would enjoy. And I think everyone already knows what fight that is.
Absolutely. So let's talk about it. Yesterday, Dave Feldman, BKFC president, he was asked about Nate Diaz. He's now a free agent. He's no longer under contract to the UFC. He says he wants to conquer all sports outside the UFC. That means kickboxing, boxing, bare-knuckle, everything. And he wants to make a push to sign him. Now, we know that bare-knuckle has signed big names and brought over big fights. And so I think it's absolutely possible this could happen. And he said the dream fight would be Mike Perry against Nate Diaz. Now, I'm not going to lie, Mike, that would be a dream fight for me too. I would love to see that. So what was your reaction when you heard that news that, they're going to make a push for it? And to be clear, this is a fight you wanted years ago in the UFC. You asked to fight Nate Diaz a couple years ago.
Well, my first initial reaction was, I don't know if that's where he's going, where his ideas are, because he said he wants to go take over other sports, as far as he wants to be like the Dana White of an organization, or the David Feldman of an organization, and run the show and show people how to do it. But I mean, I think he also said things where he still got a lot of gas left in the tank. He's still interested in some, big fights in his career. And I think that's what it's about, is if he wants to accept the challenge himself. He loves to box. I know he likes jiu-jitsu too, so I don't know if it's something that he would be fully interested in, because, without jiu-jitsu against me and just boxing, I don't know if he sees himself having a chance against me in the bare-knuckle boxing ring. But, it's a lot of respect there for Nate Diaz. A lot of fans have said over the years that, I am kind of like kin to the Diaz brothers, and that, we have the same initial feelings towards fighting, that if we're fighting, it's a real fight, and, all that friendly stuff, it doesn't have to be there until, the victor is chosen. And then we can talk about, being cool. But, it's no animosity. He's a great competitor, and I am as well. I'm an amazing competitor, and I give my all to the fight. It's got my whole heart. I love the sport of fighting in any organization. I love bare-knuckle because it's so real, and I think it's a challenge that he could possibly be interested in if he started learning about bare-knuckle boxing and seeing what it takes from you mentally and physically as an athlete to compete in this sport.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you say that, Mike, because you're right. A lot of people kind of say that, the reason why so many people compare you and the Diaz brothers together is because we always talk about the realest of the real, right? Like, you're a real dude. You know what I mean? Like, this is no joke to you. This is no, it's not a sport. It's a fight. You treat every fight. Now, you can be totally respectful afterwards, and you've always done that in your career. But that's, I think, why this is so interesting, because you and Nate Diaz, in a way, you're cut from the same cloth. You are the realest of the real, and we know what we're going to get. We know exactly what we're going to get when Mike Perry steps in that bare-knuckle ring, and you kind of know that as well with Nate Diaz. I just think this is like a dream fight, right? Like, this will be a dream come true in terms of styles, and be honest, like, in terms of magnitude, like, there's not really a much bigger fight. I know he talked about the Jake Paul fight. We all talk about that. Jake's fighting Anderson Silva. I don't know if he makes it out, that Anderson Silva fight. But like, again, this is a massive fight.
I know he's trying to connect that fight with Jake Paul, as am I. I'm trying to get that fight with Jake Paul as well. Don't know if he gets past Silva, and if he'll be willing to fight after he fights Silva, who he'll be willing to fight if he loses that fight. But, me, I'm out here doing big things as far as, I just fought MVP in his country and I got the win. I traveled to the Dominican Republic as a coach, and I fought with Alex the Spartan Nicholson, and he fought for a world championship for the second time over there. And now we're about to go to Russia, and Alex is fighting again. I get to be his coach and corner again over in another country, and he's fighting a 30-1 heavyweight for another world championship in Russia. And the whole fighting community knows what Russia means. We're up against a bunch of Habibs, and they're very, strict in the sport of martial arts. And even Nate Diaz knows what that means, that we're going to enemy territory in one of the most dangerous countries in the world to fight one of the most dangerous men in the world. And it's me and my bro versus everyone over there. So, I mean, that just goes to show that we are the realest of the real, and we're willing to compete and prove to the world that we're the best fighters out here. So if you want to prove that to anyone out there or yourself, we're on a mission. That's what we're doing. I got the Ali shirt. We out here floating like butterflies, stinging like bees, and I'm Platinum Perry. And you know what time it is. I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. And if you really, about it and want to challenge yourself, I'm here for it.
Absolutely. It's crazy because, of course, I have nothing but the utmost respect for mixed martial arts. That's, primarily what I cover on my day in and day out. So I love it. I love boxing as well. I'm really looking forward to all the great boxing matches. I watch all the boxing matches, but there is something, inherently real about bare-knuckle where, I've said this to Dave Feldman many times. It's a whole other animal when you step in there, right? Like, because it's not boxing, it's not MMA, it's not kickboxing. It's a different art form, whole different art form. And you have to be prepared for it, right? Like, it's not easy. It's a really difficult sport to adapt to. We've seen a lot of people try it and fail. It is not easy. But it feels like you and Nate, again, that seems like kind of like the I know he hasn't done bare-knuckle before, but it kind of seems like that's the era, that's the kind of guy he would come in. Like, that just seems to be like the kind of challenge Nate Diaz would want to step up to, right? Like, that just seems like that's the kind of thing, like, you would talk to them and be like, yeah, I'll take that challenge. They don't seem like they would back down from a challenge like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out and about with your friends, you're out at night, you're drinking, and people want to get belligerent and start a fight with you because you're Nate Diaz or Mike Perry, it's about being prepared at all times in bare-knuckle because you're always bare-knuckle, you know what I mean? And that first punch you hit people with, I mean, it really changes the game. You've never seen MVP get hit like he did when he fought me. And the first shot I hit him with put him down. And he showed his grit and he got back up and we had a hell of a brawl. But I made it a brawl so that I could get inside and fight him. And they gave me the win because I was on his ass like white on rice all night long. So, like you said, Damon, if you want to challenge yourself in a real fight, bare-knuckle is the way to go. And, we're talking big money too. We're talking real big money. I mean, since fighting with bare-knuckle and Triller, my taxes look like, what the UFC fighters got paid the other night. All of them. Everyone on the whole roster who got paid the other night on one card. That's what my brackets look like from fighting a couple of fights. So, we're talking big money over here. It's a real opportunity for anyone involved. It's not just a shot in the dark. It's not just like, we're talking about the sport. It's real fighting and it's real money. So if you want to get that real shit in your life, come and get some of this platinum heat.
I love it. And I know you said, you told me, or you said after the fight with MVP or coming out of the fight, your first fight, you said, you weren't totally sure. Was Bare-Knuckle for you? Was it really for you? You go in there, you beat Michael Venom Page, you hit him harder, you knocked him down, you had an incredible fight in his home, by the way. You had to do it in his backyard. Then you get the win afterwards. You said, I'm made for Bare-Knuckle. This is my sport. I am made for this sport. We talk about the biggest fights in combat sports right now, right? Like the biggest fights we can have in the entire world right now. You think about a couple different matchups that can happen. John Jones, Francis Ngannou, that would be a fun, big fight to watch. You think about, obviously we always talk about, anytime Tyson Fury boxes, that's always a big deal. And I know he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. Is Mike Perry, Nate Diaz, potentially the biggest fight we can have in combat sports? Really?
I think so. And if you really love the fans, if you want to pay attention to that, I think that the noise is out there for it. I think it's a big possibility that Nate Diaz wants to challenge himself against me for the fans in this sport of bare-knuckle boxing for bare-knuckle fighting championships. And who knows, we could do it in California in his backyard. And I know that comes with a lot of, his people crowding up on my people, as long as nobody punches my girlfriend, because she be at the fights and she's currently pregnant. So don't attack my girlfriend. Don't be trying to kill, fight me. It's you versus me, and you can bring your boys too. And I don't know how many of my boys will be there, but we gonna be there to fight one-on-one. And you can play all the mental games you want to play with me. I'm one of the toughest men on the planet. And I'm just trying to give the fans what they want to see in the sport of fighting and combat. And that's Platinum Mike Perry versus Nathan Diaz.
Absolutely. We saw it with Nate's fight with Tony Ferguson. There was no bad blood. Two legends, two veterans. Nate had nothing but the respect for Tony. Tony had nothing but respect for Nate. But we love seeing those kind of fights, right? We don't need trash talk. We don't need the great. Listen, I know you respect Nate Diaz. You said it earlier. You got a lot of respect for them. But this is one of those fights that sells itself, right? Like, you don't need to trash talk Nate Diaz. We just put the marquee, Mike Perry versus Nate Diaz. That's all we need to say. We don't need to say anything else.
I think about the times when he was talking to Conor McGregor and he's like, I fight top 10 kickboxers, top 10 boxers. Like, who the fuck do you playing touch butt with that dork in the park? Yeah, I felt that, Nate, because I've always been trying to up my competition in training. I always have boxed with high-level boxers. And, the toughest guys out here on the East Coast in Florida, and if I could work with any guys who were traveling into town, I always work with top 10 mixed martial artists. I fought the top 15 in the welterweight for the last 5 years in the UFC. So I'm a legitimate competitor. A lot of the fans will give me the credit. Nate, I'm calling you out, brother. I know that you just had a fight. I don't know how much time you need to heal. I just had a fight as well, but let's do it. Let's put on a great show. And you get to try the real of the real. It's like a street fight. First Platinum Mike Perry. I know you like to box anyway, so let's do it, man.
What about this, Mike? Let me set the stage for you here. How you go from MVP to Nate Diaz and then Jake Paul? Would that be like the ultimate, like the combo right there, right? Because I think the Jake Paul fight, like, again, you had that boxing match in Triller, you won over a legitimate boxer, which I love. I loved you went out there and did that. And again, I'm not taking the focus away from Nate, but could you think about that 3 in a row right there? MVP, Nate Diaz, Jake Paul. How huge would that be?
Absolutely. I believe that. I believe that could happen. And it makes sense because if me and Nate Diaz are both trying to get this Jake Paul fight, I honestly think that we should have a fight to see who deserves that fight if he can get past Silva. And, you know, Silva, after the Jake Paul fight, if he wins and stuff, I'm not trying to call him out, but I want the fights that I deserve, and that's whoever the best is out there that's doing big things, and that's Nate Diaz and me, and the winner of that should get the Jake Paul fight or even the Anderson Silva fight. No disrespect to the GOAT.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mike, I love it. I think this is a fight that makes a lot of sense. Nate's a free agent now. He's finally able to sign wherever he wants. He has his freedom, which is what he's wanted for the last couple of years. Now he's got it. And again, I think this is, the biggest fight that can be made. I mean, listen, I have a lot of respect for Jake Paul going out there and boxing, even, no matter what he's doing. You don't step in there and play fighting. You know what I mean? You still got to go in there and get punched for real. And Anderson Silva's as legit as they come. But I think when you talk about big fights, magnitude, all these kind of things, and money, listen, there's money here, Mike, right? You're not going out there and fighting for free. You're going out there to make money. You and Nate Diaz would clean up at the box office. So this is just a massive fight. I think I'd love to see it. I think the fans would love to see it. I think everybody would love to see it.
Absolutely. I honestly got to say that I don't know what he's thinking, but I hope this fight is happening. David Feldman ups the pay-per-view price from $4.99 to, maybe $49.99. That would make some sense. I don't know. I think the fans would pay for it.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, I appreciate you jumping on with me real quick today. Of course, I want to put the news out there. I want to put the hype out there because I think this is a massive fight. And listen, we don't know where Nate's going. Nate's free now. He's a free man. He could just, do a one-fight deal, come over and fight you, then go fight, somebody else. He fight Jake or KSI or whatever he's going to do his thing. But this is massive. And I think it needs to. Let me ask you real quick before I get you out of here. Like you said, he just fought. Obviously, you just fought. Like, how soon? I mean, are you willing to wait? Like, if it takes a few months to put this together, are you willing to wait for Nate Diaz?
Hey, whatever I got to do. I honestly feel like I could fight right now or anytime, and then I could fight again shortly after. So. But, Nate's not the type of guy to wait for a fight. I'm out here calling him out. Maybe he tried to shut me up. And, whatever we got to do to get the fight that's most buzzing on the planet for the fans and for me, because Platinum Mike Perry is out here trying to fight. I'm out here trying to fight the best competition I can get. So whoever's willing to really, make it all make sense. And, Nate Diaz, bro, don't be scared, homie. I know you still got a lot of fight left in the tank. And Bare-Knuckle is just a real challenge, a real opportunity for both of us. So let's give the fans what they want to see. And I think it's you and me versus Bare-Knuckle.
I love it. Mike, thank you so much for the time. Again, congratulations on the baby on the way. Daddest man on the planet. I love it. And we'll talk again soon, all right?
No doubt. Make sure you hit up my people at FRM and BKFC and we make this happen, bro. I know you want to do it. Let's get it.